All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, with the start of the 2022 MLB season right around the corner, will anybody be able to knock off the Atlanta Braves in the National League East? Now, aside from entering this season as the defending World Series champions, the Braves are also the four-time incumbent, if you will, as the winners of this division. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody is, or any of the other four teams in this division are going to be able to get the best of Atlanta this year. Now, I want to start off with the New York Mets, and the expectation level for this team has increased, but will they be able to live up to it? I mean, let's be realistic. In 4 of the last 5 years, the Mets have failed to make the playoffs, and on top of that, in 4 of the last 5 years, the Mets have had losing seasons. And honestly, let me rephrase that real quick. You have to go back to 2016 actually to find the last time that the Mets did make the playoffs. So actually, in each of the last 5 years, the Metropolitans have come up short in their bid for the postseason. Now, Mets owner Steve Cohen has been hard at work throwing around his money to try to get a contender in Flushing. You look at Billy Epler, he's now the new general manager of this club. You bring in a veteran skipper like Buck Showalter, and you think about Buck Showalter. Every place that he's gone, he's won, and it has not taken him that long to get things turned around and get his system in place. So that's going to be very interesting going forward for the Amazons this year. Arguably, the Mets have two of the best, if not the best, combo of starting pitchers at the top of their rotation when healthy. And I'm talking about Jacob DeGrom and, of course, the newest Met, Max Scherzer. And, of course, we've seen Max Scherzer just put in some tremendous performances over the years. He reached a 3,000 strikeout plateau last year as a member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He helped the Washington Nationals win a World Series back in 2019. Of course, so many good years, so many good Cy Young years with both the Nats and the Detroit Tigers. And now he's bringing it to Queens as the Mets are hopeful that he can still get it done. Edwin Diaz and players like him in that bullpen, what are they going to be for the New York Mets this season? So there's some questions right there. You look at this lineup. Pete Alonso is one of the better slugging first basemen in the National League. We also saw the Mets pick up Eddie Escobar, Mark Canha, and Starling Marte this offseason. So let's see what the Mets are going to do with this lineup, and are they going to be able to give their big pitchers at the top of that rotation enough run support? Now, you look at the Philadelphia Phillies, and will this be the year that everything comes together for Joe Girardi and the Phillies? This is his third year in Philadelphia, still no postseason, and actually, you have to go back to 2011 to find the last time that the Philadelphia Phillies made the postseason. And on top of that, they've hovered around 500 for the last couple of years. Now, you have Bryce Harper in the middle of that lineup, a two-time NL MVP, and he's not alone. You have Reese Hoskins, you have Gene Segura. We also saw Philadelphia go out this offseason and sign Nick Castellanos as well as Kyle Schwarber. So make no mistake about it, there's plenty of depth in this Philadelphia lineup, and they are going to pitch, pardon me, hit. But in regards to the pitching, who's going to step up behind Zach Wheeler in this rotation? That's going to be the big question as the Phillies look to end their playoff drought. Then the aforementioned Atlanta Braves, and I've talked about them. Will they be able to repeat as World Series champions and also winning this division again? The Braves did it without Ronald Acuna Jr. for a big portion of last season. He is expected back this year in the early stages. Won't The Braves are holding him out for the beginning of the year, but I think he will be good to go at some point. And of course, it's only going to add more depth to this club. No more Freddie Freeman, which is a shocker. Of course, Freddie Freeman looked like he was going to be a lifer for the Braves, but he's not. He's a Los Angeles Dodger now. And, the Braves now are going to roll with Matt Olson at first base. And I think Olson has the potential to come in and be an immediate contributor for this Braves team. There's also depth in this roster with the likes of Austin Riley, Ozzy Albies, Marcel Ozuna, and Dansby Swanson. With the exception of Ozuna, everybody that I just mentioned, definitely had an impact on the Braves World Series triumph last year. But also, when you think about the Braves, just like it was in the 90s, the Braves can get it done with pitching with the likes of Max Fried, Charlie Morton, and Colin McHugh. And for manager Brian Schnicker, he really has his finger on the pulse of his club, and that's important. 3 years ago, for the Washington Nationals, they were on top of the baseball world. But since that World Series triumph, the dismantling of that team has begun, and the Nats now find themselves in the midst of a rebuild. You still have Juan Soto out there in right field, and he's one of the better 5-2 players in the game. You also have another quality left-handed hitter in Josh Bell. We also saw Washington give Nelson Cruz a contract this year. And of course, a big part of that is because we have the universal designated hitter. So, Cruz has been a DH, for the most part, for like the last 7 or 8 years, primarily of his career, but he still swings a quality bat, and he's going to provide a presence in the middle of that Nationals lineup while also possibly being a mentor to the youngster in Soto. Now, pitching was an issue for Washington last year, and it's going to continue to be an issue in this division as the NL East is top heavy. And then you have the Miami Marlins. The Marlins, they pulled the rug from under us recently when Derek Jeter decided to leave the franchise. It looked like he was going to be there for a while, but obviously there were philosophical differences, which is why Jeter is no longer there. This club lost 95 games last season, but they've got to find a way to improve on that under manager Don Mattingly. We saw Miami add veterans Jorge Soler and Joey Wendell this offseason, but one of the bigger things and one of the bigger telling things for me for this lineup, will they be able to give Sandy Alcantara enough run support? Last year he had a 3.19 ERA, but he went 9 and 15. So that is a telling sign right there that you're not getting the support behind you. I look at it like this. I still say that the Braves are the team to beat. They won 88 games last year, but the thing was, they did that without, some key players like Ronald Acuna Jr. And I talked about this last year. That was a golden opportunity for both the Mets and the Phillies to try to find a way to overtake the Braves after the Acuna injury, and they were unable to do it. We saw the Braves get hot coming down the stretch. They were able to separate themselves from both the slumping Mets and Phillies, and of course, the rest is history. I think if you're Philadelphia and New York, you want to try to get off the stronger starts this season in order to maintain that, to be able to put some more pressure on the Braves. Now, the Braves know that they are going to take everybody's best punch, so to speak, as the defending World Series champions. The Mets want to go out there and establish themselves and make a statement, and especially with a veteran manager with Buck Showalter, but they need consistency in their lineup. They need starting pitchers to step up who are not named DeGrom and Scherzer as well. And for the Phillies, I think they really need to get off to a strong start as well. I know they have 13 consecutive games to begin the year, but nonetheless, the bottom line is if you're Philly, a strong start could really point you in the right direction as you are looking to get to the postseason. I think both the Phillies and the Mets have the potential to win 90 games this year. But I still say that the Braves are a step ahead of them. And because of that, they still are the team to beat. I'm going to go with Atlanta to win this division. But I do think both the Mets and the Phillies will be in the midst of a potential postseason berth for both respective clubs. But with that said, I think you're going to see some tremendous action this year in the National League East as the race is on to try to dethrone the Braves. It's easier said than done. They're only going to get better once they get Acuna Jr. back in this lineup. But I think overall we are in for some quality baseball this summer coming out of the National League East. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.